Hi, all. Happy evening. Glad to see all of you in the second day of UI UX course, which is organized by Rotary Club of Madras Metro and supported and presented by Tech-iera Innovations Private Limited. Superb. So, as we are getting into our second day of class, all right. So, let me dive deep into the tool directly. All right. So, yesterday I was telling you about Figma and what is the interface that is there in Figma and what are all the tools that are present in that. And I just gave a rough idea on the interface about Figma. So today we will go further and then explore few more tools inside Figma, right? So for that, I am going to search Figma login and I'm getting into this link which is www.figma.com and then I'm giving continue with Google, then whichever account is signed in with Figma. So I am giving that account and yes, this is the Figma interface that we were seeing yesterday, right? So yesterday we created a new file and today it is there in this recents. Okay, so I'm just going to access that file by clicking this file which is in recents. So let me double click and then I'm opening it here. Yes. So yesterday I was telling you what this is called as. So when it comes to Photoshop and Illustrator, this particular canvas in which we do the work is called as artboard. And here in Figma, what did I address this artboard as? Can you please type in the live chat? So whatever name I addressed this artboard in Figma as. So if you remember the name, please type it in the chat box here. Okay, superb. So as we start receiving the messages, I am also giving a quick recap on telling you the name of this canvas when it comes to Figma. Okay, so this canvas is called as frame when it comes to Figma. All right, and then now when we take a closer look into the menu options over here, so again I will just run through on um, how to create a frame here in Figma. Okay, so for that, what I am doing is I am just going into this option, which is right over here. Okay, so which looks like merely a hashtag. Okay, so I am just going here, and then as soon as I click that, there will be some presets which show up. Okay, so here the same thing as we have seen in Photoshop and Illustrator. So something similar to that also shows up over here. So over there, we were able to see different sizes of artboards that pop up right over here in Photoshop and Illustrator screen. But over here, we have it showing up in this space, which is here. Okay. So from this, we can access whichever frame size we want to work. Okay. So today what we will do is we will take it up as a task and we will try to recreate some image. Okay. So to recreate some image, I will just randomly type an Instagram poster, okay, or Instagram story, and then I will choose some image. So I am just randomly choosing up some image which is showing up over here. Okay. Okay. I'll just take this screen, okay, and then let me just download that image. Okay, so here in our task, we will recreate this particular screen which shows here. Okay, so for that, I'm going to copy this image and let me paste it in Paint, and let me crop it to this particular screen alone. Okay, and then this image, let me just save it as JPEG picture over here. Right. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to recreate that image which we took here. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is let me just open the location where I saved it, and then I'm dragging it and dropping it right here. Okay, so here I have brought in the reference of it. And now we are going to recreate this entire screen which is shown here. Okay, leave off the phone and all. Alright, so we are not going to do that. We are just going to recreate this screen which is here with an image inside and all that, right? So this is the exact thing that we are going to create. So for this story, okay, in order to um, put a story here in Instagram or WhatsApp or something like that, we require a size of a phone. Okay, so to get the size of the phone, to get the canvas, to get the frame in the size of our phone. Okay, so over there, what we are going to do is again we are going to go to frame. All right, so as of now, I don't require this A4, so let me just delete this A4 frame. Okay. Now I am going to bring in one size of frame which is going to fit for a phone screen if it is kept in the portrait view. Okay, so for that I am just going into this phone. Okay, and then I'm choosing a preset randomly. So almost all these sizes might seem similar. Okay, but still what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this social media. Okay, so here in this social media we do have some presets which are almost there for almost all the kind of social media that we could handle. Okay, so from this I am right away choosing this Instagram story. So if I choose this particular frame, okay, so can you see there is a screen which is appearing that looks like a portrait screen. Okay, so this screen is what is going to be you opened in a phone, and then this particular screen will exactly fit in the screen size of your phone. Okay, so today after designing this, we are going to download the poster that we recreated, and then we are going to place it in a phone and see and check if it is fitting the size of the phone. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do is, now that I have I have created the frame size. Okay, so here the size of the frame is, the width is 1080 and the height of the frame is 1920. Okay, which is the portrait orientation. In case if you want to open the same thing in landscape view, what you have to do is, by selecting the layer here, okay, you have to go to this particular part, and then here you will have something called as frame. Okay, so from this you can choose which orientation you want to keep for your size. Okay, so if it is going to be portrait or if it is going to be landscape. All right, so this is the task. Then next to this, once we have done it, okay, once we have done it, what we are going to do is, here, right. So now we will just go through certain options that are there. All right. So now what we are going to do is, by selecting the layer. Okay. So this poster is, the reference image that we have here is just the reference layer. Okay. So that I am locking it so that I'm not able to move anything. Okay. But this one I can move at ease. Okay, so this one I have not locked. This is unlocked. So I am just selecting that layer which I'm going to work with. So when we see this image, okay, so collectively, what are all the what is the background appearance that we have here in this image? Can you please type in the chat box if the background is looking solid or gradient, or any freeform kind of gradient, or does it does not have any kind of color, or it does has some kind of photo. So what is the kind of background do you think that is there in this reference image that we have taken? So you can please type it in the chat box over here, so that from there we can start take it further. Okay, so here, as we are also looking forward for what is here in this, okay, so there is a background that is in gradient. Okay, so it has a kind of gradient mixed in it. Okay, so we are also going to bring a kind of gradient in our frame, which is right over here. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fill in the frame by using a gradient. Okay. So before I get into filling it with the gradient, so whoever is attending over here, so like yesterday, can you please post in your name and your register number to register your attendance in the initial stage of the class? Yes, superb. Hashni has said it is gradient. Yes, Hashni. So we are going to fill it with the same. So before that, I am just waiting for your responses to register your attendance by posting your name and then your register number over here in the live chat. All right. Good. Superb. Yes. Great. So as you guys have started registering your attendance over here in the live chat by typing in your name and your register number. Now I am just proceeding further to show you how to fill the frame using a gradient. Okay, so here by selecting the frame, okay, so here I have a set of options wherein I'm going to make some minor changes. All right, so here we have something called as fill. Okay, so this fill is responsible for the fill color that we can drop in to our image or to our shape. Okay, so then in Illustrator as well as Photoshop we saw about two types of colors wherein we dealt with the fill color as well as stroke color. Okay, which is the stroke acts like a border for the shape or for anything that we take up, and then the fill color which is going to be filled inside the shape. Okay, so this is the kind of approach that we have between fill color as well as stroke color. Okay, now we are going to fill the shape, okay, the rectangle shape over here with a gradient. Okay, so to fill in the color with a gradient, or what sorry, to fill in the shape, to fill in the frame with a gradient, what we are going to do is we are going to go here. Okay, so here something, I mean, we have a tab called as design. Okay, so in this design we have something called as fill, right? So if we click on this, right, single click, so if we just click once on it, we will have a color swatch appearing over here. Okay, now what we are going to do is here on top we have something called as solid, and then we have a drop down kind of appearance which is right here. Now, if we want to change the type of the color that we are going to handle, so for that, what we are going to do is by selecting, by hovering our mouse to the top left corner of the uh, tab that we have got. Okay, so we are just going to go there and we are going to choose which type of fill we are going to do for this particular frame which is selected. Okay, now it is in solid, so I am just going to hover onto some other side of this swatch so that my entire frame gets filled with some different color swatch. Okay, so there is no gradient, there is just this solid color wherein my entire frame is filled with that solid color. So similarly, if I just scroll through my mouse cursor to this particular area where we have different colors together, so this fill color is changing to different types of colors that we could have. All right, so in this each color itself we can regulate between the type of color that we can have. Right, so yesterday we saw a birthday page in Amazon. So if you remember that, you will be able to see this kind of yellow color in that page. Okay, so that is that, I mean, this is how you can choose between different types of colors. All right, so if you are not able to choose colors like this, so as I told you earlier, you have something called as a color palette. Okay, so in this color palette you have this site called as color hunt. Okay, so in this color hunt you can just go, you can choose some particular palette and then you can copy that particular color code. Okay, now let's say I am just copying some color code from this. Okay, so here I copy this green color. Okay, so green color over here, so I'm just clicking on this so that the color code is copied. Okay, now I am going back to Figma and then here we have something called as hex. Okay, so here I am just clicking and then I am pasting the code that we copied from that. So once we paste it, that color code will be filled here. Okay, so this is how you can take references from the color palette that you have, and then you can use them here in Figma. Okay, so this is the first type of color that we saw, so that is solid color. Okay, so again I'm going to the top left part of this tab, okay, which is showing up when we click over here in the fill color. Okay, now I'll just close it. So now we have the fill color here, and just clicking on the color, then the swatch is showing up. Okay, so this is how you can open this particular window. Now we are going to the second type of color. So the again I'm clicking the drop down, and now I am seeing the second type of color to be linear. Okay, so if I give this linear, so again a type of gradient is brought in this linear. Okay, can you see it? So there is a line that is showing up, and then you have 2 points that are showing up here. Okay, and now you can choose I mean you can just click on the particular node. Okay, and then you can just choose some color. So now I'll just choose this particular color over here, and now I'm moving to the second color. So I'm clicking on the second color, which is here, and now I am going to swap between the color that I can have. Okay, now I have chosen blue color. So now this is how linear my color looks like. Okay, so this is how I can fill linear color in any fill color in Figma. So once I have done it, what I'm going to do is here again, previously if you had observed, so previously the line's length was only till here. Okay, so that even before the artboards, I mean the frames end part, the bottom part of the frame gets covered by the color became transparent. Okay, so that is because the length of the line. All right, so from where the line's length starts till where the line's length ends, so till that only the color will be applied. Okay, so in that manner, what we are going to do is we are going to adjust the line. So as I keep my cursor on top of the line, which is here, my cursor turns into arrow marks, which points into 4 directions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and hold on it and then drag the line. So as I drag the line, can you see the color being filled throughout the bottom, I mean top till the bottom of the frame. Okay, so this is how you can adjust between the color. So now as I move my line so short over here, so till wherever there is an empty space, till that automatically this color, which is the first color, gets filled. Okay, so this is how you can regulate between linear colors. So if you require, you can also just keep your cursor over here in the slider and click once. So an extra node will be created over here. Okay, like that, how many ever nodes you require, so wherever you click, one extra node will be created in those different points. Okay, now what we will do is we'll just fill in with random colors throughout the entire thing. Okay, so here I'll just bring in some pink, then like that let me just fill in some different sort of colors for you to know and understand. So like this, you can handle between different types of colors that you want. Okay, so this is how linear gradient works. Okay, now next to choosing different sort of colors. Okay, so here also you can just handle between the type of the kind of opacity that each color should carry. Okay, so here also you can just do that by adjusting the node in that aspect. So you just have to click and hold and then drag the node. That is how you can adjust between different sort of colors. Okay, so here if you could see well, um, we are very well able to differentiate between each and every color. There is no flawless appearance of the colors. Okay, so if you could see, there are some lines which are showing up. So if you want to avoid this, you have to manually adjust between the appearance, and you have to move the nodes. Okay, as such, there is nothing in particular which is seen. So there will be a smoother transition of the colors. Okay, so now here, okay. Now what I am additionally doing is, so here underneath this color options that we have another slider which shows from white till dark. Okay, so this is the opacity of a color. Okay, how transparent or how opaque you want the color to appear. You can just move in the slider and then you can adjust its opacity. Okay, so like that, I can just randomly move in the kind of opacity a color should give. All right. So here, if I move the slider, I'm also observing how things are appearing over here. Okay, whether it is appearing so dashing. Okay, so I will also adjust the color accordingly. Okay, now as I move here, can you see there is a blend which is happening? Okay, so this is how you can handle between different sorts of colors. Okay, so again here you can just bring in some other option between a color that looks blended to the existing color. Okay, now this color somewhat feels like this blending with the existing thing, so I'm just stopping it there. Okay, so if not, you can also adjust it. Okay, and then you can bring in whichever linear gradient color you want to bring in, you can bring that. Okay, so when it comes to gradient, my strong suggestion would be to choose from the color palette, because the kind of colors that you choose from the color palette, when you are a complete beginner in this, you will have a fair idea and a good looking images for whatever you create. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just select unwanted colors and I'll hit on delete. Okay, so now delete in my keyboard. Okay, now I will have only two different colors or three colors here. Okay, so now what I will do is I will just operate some four different color nodes. Okay, so now what I am going to do is I am going to bring in this same color theme which is here. Okay, before I do that, I will show you how color palettes appear when you are bringing them as a gradient, which is here. Okay, so for that, what I'm doing is I'm selecting the first node. Okay, so once I have selected the first node, let me go to the color palette. So here I will choose this particular color palette. which is kind of adding value. Okay, so I am clicking on it, and then the color code has been copied. So here I will again select which node I want to paste that color to, and then let me just come here to the hex code. Okay, right click and paste. So that color has been pasted over here. Now I am moving to the second color in the palette. So again I'm coming here, then click copy the color code, and then again I'm clicking on the node which is over here, and then here, and then control V to paste the color. So again I have copied the second color from the palette. So again third code I am choosing it from here. I have copied it. Again, I'm going into Figma. Then I'm clicking on this particular node, and then here I am giving it, I'm pasting the code, and yes, the third code has been pasted. So again, I'm coming here. Then again, I'm clicking on the last color which is over here, and now here I am coming up and selecting this node, and then I am just pasting the code here. Okay, so now the color codes have been pasted, but if you could observe something, the code is lighter than how it looks here. Okay, so the opacity slider is the reason for it. So if I increase the opacity to 100, you will be able to see the fair difference between the previous one, and then when we increase the slider to 100. Okay, similarly, we will also check the other colors and increase its opacity or decrease its opacity according to however we want to have the colors as. Now if we see this entire fill, okay, so you will be able to see these exact color codes which are here. So to show you that, what I'm going to do is, let me draw some boxes, and then I'll just paste the colors over here to show you how they look like. Okay, so this is how you can bring in colors from the color palette. So this kind of somewhere, I am feeling as if this is the foundation cream tone that we could have in four different shades, like it suits four different skin tones. So somewhere or the other, I kind of feel this is somewhat like that. Okay, fine. So this is how colors react when you bring in the linear gradient. Okay, so you can also change the line whichever direction you want it to appear. Okay, you can just hold and rotate like this, so that however you rotate it, it gets rotated, and then you will be able to see your gradient in that way. Okay, now just like this, how I do here. Okay, done. So this is how you can bring in different color gradients. Now the same linear color, okay, again I'm clicking on this option which shows linear, and then a drop down. So now I'm going to the radial color. Okay, this is the third type of fill color that we can have. So if we go to radial color, the same color, I mean the according to the radius of the color, I mean the line will be the same, but it will appear according to the radius of the object. Okay, so this is how radial colors do work. Okay, so according to your requirement, you can just bring in the radius. All right, so here you can increase and decrease opacity or do whatever. you feel like doing. All right, so to get the exact results of what you want to take up. All right, so this is the third type of color. Now, now we will see the fourth type of color, which is angular. Okay, so as the name says, it is about the angle in which you are choosing the color tone. Okay, so here additionally one more color is added, so that is why you are able to see this violet tone. So I am just deleting this off. Okay, so whichever direction you want the color to look like. Okay, so mostly this type of angular color can be used when you are bringing in some reflections. Okay, so like that you can just deal between the color. Okay, or if you want to bring some kind of dashing a feel in your poster or in your images, you can bring in this angular color. Okay, so this is how angular color looks like. So then next to it we have diamond color. So the logic is the same. So wherever you click on the angle, a new node will be added. Okay, and then you can just change the color for the node. Okay, so again, if you don't want, you can click on that node and hit delete in your keyboard so that the color gets deleted. Okay, so this is how you can bring in angular angular gradient to your object. Okay, next to it we have something called as diamond. So this, as the name rightly says, the gradient looks like a diamond. So in this diamond you can just bring in and move the colors according to your requirement. Okay, so this is all about the color, the gradient colors you could have um, in your designs that you create. Okay, so next to it we have few two other options which we will be discussing after some time. Okay, now what we are going to do is click on this diamond. Let me change it back to linear. Okay, just for me to match with the existing colors which are over here. So now what I'm going to do is, okay, now what I'm going to do is here let me just click on the linear gradient. Okay, and then I will click on the node which is here. Okay, so once I have clicked on the node which is here, okay, so clicked on the node which is here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this color picker. Okay, and after I choose this color picker, I'm going to choose the color from the reference image that we have here. Okay, so now I have picked the first color. So now I'm going to the second color. Okay, and again I'm going to take in the color picker, and this time I'm going to choose the next color which is here. Okay, it's a kind of pink and violet blended together. Now the third color, okay, I'm choosing the third color. Again I'm choosing color picker. This time I'm going to pick in some kind of peach, okay, which is appearing over here. And now the fourth color, again I'm going to choose this violet. Okay, so now to bring in that kind of effect, what I am doing is I am trying to rotate the angle of the gradient. Okay, so to bring in that kind of effect, I am just dealing between the gradient over here. Okay, yeah. So now I have somewhat similar tone which is here. Okay, now next to it, okay. Now what I am doing is, in order to bring this type of appearance wherein there is a rectangle, a rounded rectangle. Okay. So to bring that, what I am doing is, here yesterday I told you that there are different shapes. Okay. So from those shapes, I am clicking the drop down and I am choosing this rectangle. Okay. So once I have chosen the rectangle, I am going to draw in one rectangle like this. Okay. So for this, I am not holding the shift because I am drawing the rectangle. If I am holding the shift, you can see the shape that is being created. Now I have left the shift. Now there is a proper rectangle which is showing up. Okay. Once I have created the rectangle, let me reposition it. So here the red guides, okay, the red kind of line wherever you are seeing, these red lines are acting as your rulers. Okay, so it will denote you if you are moving your shape to an intersecting point or to a straight line. Okay, so if you move in these aspects, your ruler will change. Okay, so you can see that over here. Okay, so here also if you want to, I mean in Figma also, if you want to move an object restricted to one particular axis, you can hold shift. Okay, so that it moves in one particular axis. So now I will place this over here. Okay, because that red line which occurred horizontally as well as vertically denoted me that I am placing it in the center. Okay, once I have done it, when I zoom in and see here, okay, there is a strong stroke which is appearing. Okay, so here we are having a stroke alone. So inside that we are having some image. Okay, so here what I am doing is, I am going to first I am going to bring in the rounded corners of the rectangle. Okay, so to create the rounded corners, what I am going to do is, as I bring my cursor near this particular area which shows a dot, okay, automatically my cursor is getting some curved arm underneath. Okay, so if I bring it here, okay, my rectangle's corners are getting rounded. Okay, can you see that? So it has been rounded from all the sides. Okay, so here when we take a closer look, I mean here it's rounded to some extent. Okay, so I will stop till here. And also yeah, now we have curved the corners, but when we see it closer, over here on top we are not able to see the complete curve of the rectangle in the top portion. Okay, so for that what I am doing is, I am just moving closer. Okay, and then I am going to move this um, shape a bit above. Okay, so for that what I'm doing is, I'll hold shift. Okay, and then I am moving it. So now some portion of the curved corner is moved outside the frame. Okay, so now once I have done it, here the next responsibility that I have is to create a stroke. Okay, so to create a stroke, what I am doing is, now what color are we having here? Can someone type it here in the chat? So what is the shape, I mean what is the type of color we are having here in the fill color? So what's the type of color? So we saw different types of colors before some time. So what is the type of color we are able to see here? Yes, you can type it here in the chat. Okay. Yes, bring in the same energy that we had yesterday. So what is the type of color that we are able to see in this rectangle shape now? So we saw that it is fill color and there are different types of fill colors. Now what is the type of color that is filled here in this rectangle? Okay. So it is the solid color that is there, okay, which is filled in our current shape, right? So the solid color is gray in color, and now we have to remove this solid color and we have to give our shape a stroke, okay? So as it is seen here. So to give a stroke for our shape, what we are going to do is here we have this fill color right now, okay? So if we give minus, which is appearing here, okay, so if we give click on that minus, the fill color will be subtracted, okay? After we do that, now here we have the option for stroke. Now if we give plus, okay, a stroke will be added, okay? Now you will be able to see the stroke, but the volume of the stroke is very tiny, okay? So here what we are going to do is now we are going to increase the size of the stroke according to the size we have here. Yes, Hashni has said it's great. Yeah, now I have increased the size of the stroke as 10. All right, so now the volume of the stroke is increased. Now what I'm doing is I have to change the color of the stroke to the color of the stroke that I have here. So in order to do that, what I'm doing is again, for as we saw for the fill color, for the stroke color also, if we click over here, we will have different types of colors, okay? So solid, linear, radial, angular, diamond. So whatever we saw for the fill color, the same set of options are there for the stroke color as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this color picker having this option in solid, because this is the solid color that we are having. It's not gradient. So now I am choosing this color picker and I am going, and you will be able to see a closer view on which color you are choosing from here over here in the top, okay? So now I am going over here, okay, and then I am just picking up the color from here, okay? If I just click, the color will be copied. Now when I see, I have created the stroke color, okay? But now what we are going to do is we have to place an image like this in this rectangle as well, okay? So to do that, let me see if I'm having any um, portrait shape, portrait orientation image, okay? So here I have the task that I showed you for Photoshop, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this image and drop it here, Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have selected the rectangle, and then I'm going to go to this fill color. Okay, this time I am not going to fill this with a solid color. Instead, I am going to choose the image option which is here. Okay, once I have chosen the image, the squares will appear like this. Okay, the black and white squares will appear like this. And now if I hover my mouse onto this particular tab which shows up here, okay, and then I'm giving choose image. So once I give choose image, there is a window that is popping up, and from this I am navigating to the window where I have saved the pictures. Okay, and then I am giving this image which we have dropped it here. Then once I have selected it, then I'm giving open. So once I give that, can you see the image is filled inside the shape? Okay, so this is how you can fill the image, fill any image into your shape. Okay, but now um we have, I mean, the entire image is scaled this much. Okay, but when we take a closer look over here, only the girl's part is seen. Okay, so only the girl, and then whatever comes in the center is seen. So now which it means that the size of the image, the image that we want to fill inside the shape is not similar to the size that we have created this rectangle for. Okay, I will repeat it again. The rectangle size that we created here is smaller when we compare the actual size of this poster. Okay, so that is why we are not able to get the complete image that we hear inside the rectangle. Okay, so to get that, okay, here we have an option which shows up fill. Okay, so if we click on the drop down, there will be four other options showing up. Okay, now it is in fill. If I give fit, okay, so the image will appear completely, but what will happen is there will be some space left in the shape that we created. Okay, so now the third option that we have is crop. Okay, we can crop the shape according to the image that we have. Okay, so and then we can move in the image and keep it wherever we want it to be placed. Okay, and then the fourth option is style. So this style, as you are able to see here, it multiplies the image that you have. Okay, so these are the four different options that you have here. Okay, and for each option, you can also regulate its opacity level. Okay, and also you can also rotate the way how the tiled images look like. Okay, so these are the four different options. Now what I am going to do is, since I want the image to fit in, I am not very specific with the image, so I will just give this fill. Okay, now once I have filled it, now almost I have created the main area. Okay, now as I take a closer look at the image, okay, which is here. Okay, so in the background we are able to see some rectangles, but only with stroke colors. Okay, and also they do not seem so bright in the screen. Okay, they seem a bit dull. Okay, which means that the opacity level is regulated. Okay, so for that what we are going to do is we are also going to create rectangles now. Okay, so we are going to create some rectangles which are in this size. So I will just create it outside the image. Okay, so I'm creating this big size of rectangle, and I'm going to remove the fill color as we are not able to see the fill color inside these shapes. Okay, so the same way I am removing the fill color from here. So once I have removed the fill color, the shape is still there, okay? But because we have removed both the fill color and the stroke color for the rectangle, we are not able to see the rectangle to be visible unless we select it in the layers, okay? So now what I'm going to do is, as we take a closer look into the rectangles which are shown over here, these are filled with strokes, right? So now we are also going to give our rectangle a stroke as well. Okay. So here I am selecting the rectangle, and then I'm giving stroke here. If I give plus, okay, a stroke is added. So now I am going to choose the color of my stroke. Okay, let me just assume it to be white. Once I have chosen it, I am also increasing its um, volume. Okay, so once I have increased it, okay, so just for me to know where the rectangle is, I have moved it into the image that we have here. Okay, now what I'm doing is I am going taking it and placing here inside the image. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the rectangle as we are able to see here. Okay, so this rectangle is somewhat diagonal. So what I am doing is I am rotating it this much. Okay, so here when we take a closer look, till this part of the rectangle is vanished. So I am also keeping the same here. Okay, once I have kept it, now when we see this rectangle is overlapping the image which is here. Okay, so what do you think that can be done in order to make this rectangle go behind this layer where we have the image? I will ask you the question again. Now, when we look at this image, this rectangle is overlapping the image that we have here. If we want to move this rectangle behind this layer where we have the image, what is the thing that we have to do to the rectangle? So the same layer concept, whatever we have learned in Illustrator as well as Photoshop, applies over here. So if someone is able to guess and post the answers, you are very well welcome. Okay. Yes, I am giving you sufficient time to think. So what is the logic that I can do? I can follow if I want to bring this rectangle behind the image that is seen here. Harshni, you have your answer? Harshni, Jocelyn, you guys have your answers? If you have, you can please post it here. I will repeat the question again. If I want, okay, arrange, send to back. Superb. So Hashni has given us the answer that we have to arrange this shape as if we are sending it behind this image. Okay, so here in Figma, what we are going to do is we also have the same option here. Okay, if we right click, we will get a set of options. Okay, from this what we can do is we can uh, choose between these options, which shows bring to front and send to back. Okay, so here the challenge is, if we give send to back, it will go behind. Okay, now when we see, so we are having the rectangle here. But when we see it, well, now that all the other elements are created outside the frame. Okay, so this is the frame that we are working on, and the other elements which have here, I mean, which are here. Okay, like this, the image that we have and all that. Okay, so these are outside the rectangle. So without any problem, our rectangle is has gone behind the image rectangle that we have here. Okay, but in some cases, what will happen is the shapes will go behind the frame that is here. Okay, now let's say this goes behind the frame. Okay, now I have dropped it and dropped it here behind the frame that we have here. Okay, now the rectangle is not visible. So it is always good that you choose the shape and you manually bring in the shape and drop it in the position wherever you want it to be fixed. Okay, so once you have done it, now when we look here in the reference, the shape, the rectangle shape is not looking very bright. Okay, so the opacity is reduced for the rectangle. So here also we are going to reduce the opacity level. So to reduce the opacity level, what I am doing is, here we have the stroke color and not the fill color. So to bring in to reduce opacity, I am going clicking here. Okay, and here we have the solid color selected for the stroke, right? So here in the opacity control bar, I am reducing the opacity level of the rectangle that we have here. Okay, now can you see? So the shape is appearing as if we are able to see it here. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to duplicate this shape and going to place it in the respective shapes that we are able to see here. Okay, now again we have this rectangle which is showing up here. Okay, now for this I am just holding Alt and bringing the duplicate of it as we do in uh, Illustrator. Okay, now I am fixing it in this position. Again I'm clicking on it and then I am holding Alt. Okay, now I am clicking and dragging another shape out of it, and then I bring it and place it here in this position. Okay, so here the rectangle is tilted towards right. So now here also I am going to do the same thing. So to do this, I am just rotating it like this. Okay, and then I am bringing it here. Okay, placing it. Now again, I am sending this back. Okay, then we have this shape here showing up. So again, I'm going to select this, hold Alt, then click, drag a shape out of it, and then I am just bringing it here and placing it. So I am just rotating it. Okay. So now I have brought in the shapes like how it is shown here in this image. So finally we have this circle, the semicircle which is showing up. Okay, so to create the semicircle, again I'm clicking the drop down, and now this time to bring in the circle shape, I am choosing ellipse. Okay, and I am drawing an ellipse here. Okay, so as I draw an ellipse, now I am subtracting the fill color and I am adding the stroke color. again I'm increasing the color of the stroke to 5. Okay, and now again I am taking the color picker, and this time I am choosing from the color that we have here. Okay, so now we have got the uh, color, but it seems violet. Okay, so what I'm doing is, again I'm choosing the color picker, I'm taking a closer look, and then I am choosing this color. Okay, so now again I am just going to reduce its opacity level. Okay, so once I have done it, I have brought in the exact appearance of this thing that we have here. Okay, if we want to even more round the corners of this frame as well, we can also do it. Okay, so as we increase the um, corner type here, okay, we are able to see the exact result. Okay, so now here just the text is pending. Okay, so to add a text, I am going to the text tool. Okay, I'll choose the text tool, and then I am keeping my cursor here. All right, let me just type set your video duration. Okay, now I have typed in the text, but the text looks very small. Okay, so it looks very small. So to increase the font size, what I am doing is, let me go here to the design tab again. Okay, so here we have the size of the font, which shows 12. So I'm going to click this drop down, and then I'm going to increase the size to 24, but still it appears small. Okay, now I have set this to 48, and somewhere it matches the size. Okay, and then what I'm doing is, I am changing the appearance to bold or black. Okay, and here I can choose the style whichever I want to have, the font styles whichever we can use in our designs. Okay, so again, these things, the text tool again similarly works like the text properties that you have in Word or you have in Illustrator or like that. Okay, so just you have to regulate between the sizes that you are dealing with. Okay, now here I have brought in the text. Okay, but this time what I am doing is, I have to align this duration to the center. Okay, so for that, here I am um, aligning the text to the center, so that now we are, I mean, the font is different, but still we have got the exact representation of this image that we have here. Okay, so this is, now if we now what I will do is, I will just export this. Okay, so here to export this image, I have chosen the frame. Okay, along the frame, let me also go here. Okay, I will click export, which is here, and now here if I preview, this image is seen here. Okay, so here I am going to switch between this PNG and changing it to JPEG. Okay, once I have changed it to JPEG, what I am going to do is, I am going to give this option which says export Instagram story 1. Okay, which is the name of the frame that we are able to see here. So once we give this export Instagram story 1, okay, the image is exported in JPEG format. So if we click and open, this is how our image looks like. Okay, but now when you take a closer look, okay, so here in the corners you have some white color which is here. Okay, so that is because the background is also exported, because we exported it in JPEG format. Okay, the same thing if we convert, change it to PNG, and now when we export, okay, here we are not able to see that white corners. Okay, now I will also send this image in your WhatsApp so that you can open this image in your phone and see that uh, this exact size will fit your phone's portrait size. Okay, so this is how you can create posters for your Instagram story or WhatsApp story, okay, using Figma. All right, so if you have understood it, you can please type in understood here in the live chat, or if you have any query that I have to address, you can also please post it here. So I'll give you quick 2 minutes of time to do the same. Whoever has a query, you can please post in the query, and whoever understood it, you can please mention understood or clear or something that I can see and proceed for the next few techniques that we can do using Figma. Superb, superb. Thank you, guys. Okay, so as a task for this poster, okay, so I will be sending you a reference image in your WhatsApp tonight, all right, and then you can please recreate the same using Figma, and you can please send that or attach it in the drive link that has been shared with you all. Okay, good. Any particular area you have any doubt, you can please post it here right now. Okay, superb. Now we are going to move to the next set of tools that we are going to see. Okay. So yes, so far we explored how a rectangle tool works, what's the difference between fill and stroke color, how we can add and subtract a fill and stroke color and all that. Okay. Now we are going to go further and explore between different set of tools that we can have. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to frame. Okay, this time I'm going to create some bigger frame. Okay, let me choose paper or presentation. I'll give this size. Okay, now I have got this bigger size of art, I mean frame, okay, to work on. So now what I'm going to show you is here we have different set of tools. Okay, so the first tool that we saw before is rectangle tool. Okay, so similarly how in Illustrator if you hold shift and draw a shape, it comes in a scaled aspect. So the same way here in Figma also, if you hold shift, the scaling will be even. Okay, if you leave shift and draw, the scaling will not be even. Okay, so this is the difference. So here once we have created it, okay, we will have these four nodes when we are in the select mode. Okay, so using these four nodes we can resize the uh, rounded corners of the shape. Okay, so now as I round it further, I am landing up at a circle. Okay, so if I don't want, I can also take it back. Okay, so like this I can create rounded rectangles as well. Okay, so this is one. So now if I want to do furthermore edit to the shape, what I can do is double click on the shape. So once I do the double click, okay, some other four nodes are coming up and there are stripes as you are able to see here. So as I click on this particular node, okay, so as we were able to do in Illustrator, here also the shape will act respective to the um, changes that we do. Okay, so now using one single rectangle, I was able to create a shape like this. Okay, if I want further, what I can do is I can bring in the shape like this. Okay, so to regulate it further, what I can do is I can also select these three dots which are here, okay, which says corner smoothing. Okay, if I open that or if I just click on this one, okay, so now what I'm going to do is yeah, so here I can regulate between the corners. Okay, so once I click on it, now that I scaled it, okay, I am not able to see the even type of corners. Okay, so here what I am doing is right, so here as we are able to see, okay, now what I'll do is um I'll just change it like this, okay, and I will move the corners back like this. Okay, now I'm going to ask you something. All right. So now I'm going to ask you, when you look at this particular shape which is here, okay, so are you able to relate it with any other perspective? Okay, now if you see this from this angle, if you are able to relate this shape with any perspective, you can please type that here in the live chat. So once you tell me this one, then I will tell you the perspective drawing, the purpose behind it, for which I asked you to draw it. So are you able to relate this shape with any other object? If you are able to relate it with any other object, you can please type in that you are able to relate it with the object and please specify what object you are able to relate with it. If not, if you are able to see this only as a rectangle which is scaled in an uneven manner, you can please type that as well. So however you are able to fail it, you can please type in the chat. Please don't hesitate or please don't think that other people might judge you. So as much as you tend to answer, that much you will be able to learn things. So now type in how you are able to see this particular shape. If you want, I will also change the color of the shape. Yeah. So are you able to relate it with any object? If you are able to relate it with any object, you can please answer that. Or if not, if you are able to see it as a square which is scaled in an uneven manner, you can So please type that here. Jocelyn, how are you able to see this particular image, which, I mean, particular shape, which is here? Nikita, how are you able to visualize this shape, which is here? Please leave off this rectangle. Okay, Kamya has given us an answer. A roof. Okay, fine. So, Kamya, can you also please type in which perspective you approached this one and it seemed like a roof for you? A house. Okay. So, whoever is saying an answer, please also specify from which perspective you approached towards this shape and it appears in such a way for you. Okay, any other perspectives that I can get? Okay, I have got a couple of perspectives over here. Okay, but when okay, Jocelyn has said even I looked at it as a roof, like in traditional houses. Okay, fine. Upside down of a boat. Okay, you guys are coming with different types of answers. Can be interpreted as a slope from the front view, so it's wider in front and tapers off. Okay, okay, okay. So a bathtub. All right. Okay. So when I redesigned, when I adjusted this shape, okay, the perspective that I was having towards is it seemed like a paper to me. So if I hold a paper in front of me and if I take a picture of it from a top angle, okay, like not the literal top. So if I take angle of the paper from over here, okay, this side and a bit top here, I will be able to witness the paper like this. Okay, so this was a perspective that I was having when I um rescaled this shape which is over here. Okay, and now when we talk about perspective, why is it necessary for a UI UX designer to or to think about perspectives? How does perspective views help a designer? Okay, so when this question comes up, you as a designer have to approach even 2D things in 3D. Okay, so while I tell you about it, again, I would like to remind you about Candy Crush game. So in this Candy Crush game, okay, as we see the interface of the game, okay, so the kind of toffees that are present here are able to be related with the real-time toffees that we might have eaten. Okay, and also when we see some good stuff like this wherein jellies appear like this, okay, so just the appearance of this itself is making us go drool over the image that we are seeing here. Okay, so I'm just searching for the exact image. Yeah, so we have the image right here, right? So when we see all these types of jellies which are violet in color and all that, okay, so from here, do you think that these objects which are here are a 2D object? Okay, we are not able to say that this is 2D because of the perspective and the depth that the designer has given for the shapes, right? So in that aspect, as a designer, um, you have to be able to know and visualize how an object will look like when it is in 2D but still feel like it is in 3D. Okay, so this is the reason between able to be see things in different perspectives. Okay, so now when we look at it, the kind of shade that we have here, okay, so the shadow that is over here makes us feel that there is some depth for this shape, okay, for this fish shape. And again, when we come over here, there is a kind of layer, outline layer, which acts which is there in a darker tone, okay, which makes us feel that there is some thickness for this shape. Okay, so like this, a designer should be able to visualize and differentiate between different colors, differences in the lighting, differences in the glossy feel that is given. So in all these things, a designer should know to visualize and imagine a depth for the object. Okay, so now, once I have put this thought forth, I would like to ask you, what was your perception towards the image that I sent you in the group in the afternoon? So, when you looked at the image, how did the object um, feel for you? Like, what was your perception towards that object? What did you think that the object would be? What shape it will be? So what was your perception when you looked at the image that I shared to you in the afternoon? So can you please type it here in the chat? Just type in your perception that you had when you looked at the image that I sent you in the afternoon. A cylinder, but we couldn't see it. Okay. So what was your idea on that object? So what shape you think the object was in? Just tell me, post me your perceptions. I'm not expecting for answers. I am just expecting for perceptions. Okay, Sneha is saying an ovalish one. Okay, fine. So that was your perception. So what object you thought it will be? Okay, fine. Okay, so here now I am going to um, tell you what object it might be and okay, view from the top of a cylinder. Okay, so it seemed like a cylinder for Kamya too. Any other answers? Glue stick. Okay, good. Fine. Next. What was your other perceptions? Bottle cap. Okay. Okay, so now here I'm going to show you what was the actual image. Okay, before I could show you what was the actual object, now I want you to give some random guesses. Okay, I'm not expecting for answers again. I'm just expecting some random guesses from you guys. What shape do you think that it will be when you look at from the side view? So I showed it from the top view. What shape do you think that it will be from the side view? Or if you are, so if you are looking at its shadow or whatever it is, so what shape you think it will be in the side view when viewing it from the side view? Cylinder, okay. When you're looking at from the side view, you think it will be in cylinder. When you look at the shadow also, okay. So now I am going to display you the object that I captured. Okay. Rod shape. Okay, fine. So this was the object that has been captured in the afternoon. Okay, so here when you take a closer look, even in the side shape, we are having some other things that can create depth for the object. Okay, so when we look at this like this, we are able to see it as a cylinder because of the shadow that we are able to, I mean, because of the shade that we are able to see here. I'll just open the image separately. So here, if we see, there is a flash onto this object in this part of the object. Okay, and there is some dark shade that is over here in the corners of the object. Okay, which makes us feel that there is some depth for the object. Okay, so this is the purpose why you have to start visualizing everything in different perceptions. Okay, so as a designer, you have to have an idea, have a thought process on what aspect or what perception your user will look at the design. Okay, so this is very important for a UI designer. Okay. Right. So till now, if you have any doubt or if you have anything to be asked, you can please type it here in the chat so that we can take it forward from there. Okay. So assuming that things are seeming clear, okay, now I will move into the second type of, I mean, second phase wherein I'm going to show you how to edit shapes. Okay, now what I'm doing is, since that I have shown you the rectangle shape. Okay, and how you can adjust that shape in a different level of perception or all that. All right, so this to get this type of design, it might take a bit of time for you. Okay, because you have to start visualizing everything in different types of perception. Okay, now just imagine the same paper. Okay, if I'm capturing the paper from my exact eye level from the side view, what shape do you think the paper will look like? I'll repeat the question again. The same type of paper, if I am clicking a picture from my eye level, from my exact eye level, from the side view, what shape do you think the paper will have? You can type it here in the live chat. I'll repeat the question again. If I am seeing the same paper from my exact eye level from the side view of the paper, how will the paper appear like? So the paper will appear like this if we see it from the exact side view. Do you agree? So when we see it from the side view, from the eye level, the paper will look like this, or even more, it will just have that kind of minute difference. Okay, so it will just look like this. Alright, the same paper, if we are seeing it from the top view, okay, so how will the paper look like? So the paper will look like this when we see it from the top view. Okay. So this is how we can switch between different types of perceptions when we are handling with the interfaces. Okay. So yesterday we saw the Amazon pages design, right? So in that we got to see a star. Okay. So now here I'll draw a star. Okay. Now how can I bring in some depth for the star? So do you guys have any idea to show that this star has a depth? Just give me some random ideas on how do you think that I can give some depth for this star. Okay, anyone? Dharani or Jocelyn, Sneha, Kamya, Kavipriya, some of you? How do you think that you can bring in some depth for the star? Okay, shadow. Shadow is one way. Then, okay. So here, as Kavipriya has said us, we will now add in one shadow for the star which is here. Okay. So in Figma, you have something called as FX. Okay. So FX will help you to create different types of effects for your shapes. Okay. Now I have selected the star. Okay, so Jocelyn has said highlights in the center. Yes. Okay, fine, good. So now what we are going to do is add more star shapes. Okay, fine. Okay, so now I will first show the first method of what Kavipriya has said us. Okay, shadow. Then we will go for Jocelyn's method wherein we are going to show some highlights. Okay, so like that we will improvise the depth for the star. Okay, so now I will select the shape, and then once I go here, there is something called as FX. Okay, if I give plus, then immediately an effect is added. So as soon as the effect is added, can you see there is a shadow which is created? Okay, now if we click on this drop down, we have some other three options as well. So if we give inner shadow, so can you see there is a depth that is created inside. Okay, so again if I give layer blur, okay, the star itself has seemed to be blurred. Now if I give background blur, okay, So there will be a blur which is created in the background. I'll show you the setting for it. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I will click on this inner shadow. Okay, wherein I'm going to get a shadow inside. Okay, now let me add the color for my star. Okay, or I can also bring in some, yeah. So now if I look at this star, I feel that there is some shadow. Okay, so now even if I want to enhance it even more, okay, I can add one more effect. Okay, this time instead of drop shadow, I will go to background blur or something. Okay, but this effect is overlapping the other one, so I'll just remove the background blur and make it to inner shadow again. Okay, again I'm just going to add it one more effect. Okay, this time let me bring in, yeah, so this time I leave it off to drop shadow. Okay. Now what I will do is I can hover my mouse onto this icon which is here, okay, to bring in the settings for my uh, shape. Okay, now here I can adjust the angle of the shadow. Okay, by changing the values of it, I can adjust the angles of my shadow. Okay, so then if how much I want it to be in x-axis, how much I want it to be in y-axis, all that I can handle here. So then I can also increase the blur uh, type. Okay, how much blur should it be, or should it be plain solid type of appearance. Okay, so when it comes to shadows, it is always better that you blur the shadows. Okay, then when you click here, you can also pick in the color for the shadow. Okay, since this has some yellow color tint over here, we'll also bring something similar to it. Okay, now the same way we have this inner shadow, and here as well we'll try to bring in some color tone for the same. Okay, and now let me also round its corner a bit. Okay, now can you see uh, previously what we created was just this. I'll just move it here. Yeah, previously what we created was this, and now this is how it looks like. Okay, so now when we look at this, how does the star seem for you? Like in what perception the image has been captured? What perspective do you think the image might have been captured if you are looking at the star like this? Yes, what perspective do you think that this image might have been captured if you are visualizing this as an image? So, what is your perspective towards this? So is it captured? Do you think that it is captured from uh, front view or top view or side view or back view? Or what is the type of view that you think the star might be created by? Yes. So here when we look at the star, okay, so we somewhere feel that this star might have been captured from the top view or the front view. Okay, so the same star, all right, so the same star, how do you think it will look like if you see it from the side? Okay, so there what will happen is you will not be able to see these types of wings over there. Okay, you will just be able to see some depth in it from the side view. Okay, so to visualize that, you might take some time. Okay, so it's just simple as a box. Okay, so here I'll show you a box. All right, so rather than a star, I'll just show you the box. I'll just draw a square here. Okay, so now I will just duplicate this square. All right, so now here I'm going to create the depth for the box. Okay, so as I'm going to create that, here your attendance link has popped up. You can please click on it and register your attendance for the day, so that we can wind off till that attendance and we can create this box by tomorrow. And within that, for today's task, you will get an activity wherein you are going to design a poster like how we did. Okay, along with it, I will also send you this poster in WhatsApp, so that you can please download it in your phone and then check whether it covers the entire size of your phone, and you can please make a note of the same. Okay, so these two things are for you for before you could come for tomorrow's class. So with this, I am winding off. Please go register your attendance link, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do it. Only then you will have an access to all the recordings that we send. With this, I am winding off. Thank you so much, guys. Bye. Take care.